on the planet Istria, a place known for its colorful skies and towering mountains. The war between the Xylar Empire and the Virka Alliance had reached its breaking point. For weeks, both sides fought fiercely, each trying to take control of the planet's most valuable resources. The Virka Alliance, a strong group of alien species, had been led by their queen, Lorahel, a fierce and respected ruler. Her decisions kept the alliance together. But now, in the midst of a battle, Lorahel had been seriously injured. The injury came during a surprise attack on the Virkus' main defense base. Despite her best efforts to protect her people, the queen was struck by a powerful weapon that left her wounded and weakened. Her body, though strong, was no match for the deadly force that hit her. With blood seeping from her side, Lorahel was rushed to the medical bay of her command ship, her life hanging by a thread. In the medical bay, the Virus' best healers worked frantically to save her. They were experts in alien medicine, skilled in using ancient techniques and advanced technology to heal wounds. But no matter what they tried, the queen's condition worsened. The wound was not like any other; they could not stop the bleeding, and her body was not responding to the healing treatments. After hours of failed attempts, the queen's most trusted advisor, Commander Jorlock, entered the room. He looked at the queen, his eyes filled with concern, but he knew that there was little more they could do. The healers stepped back, exhausted and unsure. But then Queen Lorahel spoke, her voice soft but clear, though every word seemed like it required great effort. "I will not accept your help," she said weakly. Her voice had an authority that still commanded attention despite her pain. "Find me a human." The room fell silent. Jorlock, confused and alarmed, stepped forward. "A human? But your majesty, there is no time. I will only allow a human to treat my wounds," Lorahel interrupted firmly. "I refuse any other healer." Da-da-da. The healers looked at each other in disbelief. The idea of a human medic being the only one capable of saving the queen was impossible to them. The Virka Alliance had long been a proud and ancient civilization. To trust a human, a species they had only recently come into contact with, seemed unthinkable. But Lorahel's decision was final. She would have no other healer. Jorlock hesitated, then bowed his head. "I will find one immediately, your majesty." There was no time to waste. Jorlock rushed to the command center, where the Virka ship was docked next to the human fleet. The bridge, a human soldier, Captain Sam Carter, had been waiting as part of a peacekeeping mission. He had been stationed on Istria to help mediate between the Virka and the Xylar Empire. Sam was a medic by training, but he had never treated anyone like the Virka queen before. Jorlock explained the situation quickly. "The queen insists that only a human can save her. You are the only one who can help her now." Sam felt a surge of nervousness. He had treated wounded soldiers and civilians, but nothing prepared him for this moment. The idea that he was being asked to save a queen, the leader of an entire alliance, was overwhelming. "Me?" Sam asked, barely able to believe what he was hearing. "But I'm just a medic, not a specialist in alien medicine. What can I do for her?" "You will do what is necessary," Jorlock insisted. "The queen's life is in your hands now." Without another word, Jorlock led Sam to the medical bay, where the queen lay on a healing table. Her skin, a shade of violet that shimmered in the light, was pale, and her breathing was slow and shallow. The healers stood around her, looking. Uncertain, unsure of how to proceed, Sam stood still for a moment. Taking in the sight of the alien queen, he had seen many people in pain, but there was something different about this moment. This was not just about healing a body. It was about the future of an entire people. "I'm not sure I can do this," Sam admitted, his voice shaking a little. Lorahel's eyes, though heavy with pain, still held a steady, almost calming gaze. "You will. I have chosen you for a reason. I believe in the power of your kind." Those words struck Sam deeply. He had no idea why the queen had chosen him or what she saw in him, but he couldn't let her down now. He was all she had left. With a deep breath, Sam approached the table and began to work. His hands moved over her, examining the wound carefully, trying to assess the damage. Noted the strange structure of her body, different from any human. but still her anatomy seemed to follow some logical structure. Sam had studied alien biology in training, but nothing could prepare him for this. He applied pressure to the wound to stop the bleeding, then used a specialized device to clean the area. It wasn't like any medical equipment he had used before, but it was the only thing available. He could feel the tension in the room, the eyes of the Vyrka warriors watching him closely. Their queen was under his care, and if he failed, the consequences could be catastrophic. As Sam worked, Laurahel spoke again. "Do not fear. You are not alone in this. You are stronger than you think." Sam's hands trembled less with each word. He focused on the task, remembering the training he had received as a medic. This was a new type of medicine, but at its core, healing was the same, no matter the species, the pain, or the wound. Slowly, but surely, the queen's condition began to improve. Her breathing steadied, and the blood flow slowed. Sam felt a small sense of relief, but he knew the fight was far from over. The road to healing would be long, and the pressure on him would only grow. But for now, he was determined to do his best, for the queen and for the future of the galaxy. Sam could feel the pressure mounting with every passing minute. The queen's condition was improving, but she was not out of danger yet. The wound on her side had been deep, and no one really knew if the treatments he was using would be enough. He had always worked with humans' as knowledge and skills, focused on human biology, but nothing in his training prepared him for this. Treating a creature as powerful and revered as Queen Laurel was, unlike anything he had ever done. The room around him was tense. The healers, who had been working on the queen before, stood off to the side now. They watched him carefully, some with doubt in their eyes, others with curiosity. Alien healers had their own methods, honed through centuries of knowledge, but none of their techniques had worked on the queen. Now, they were trusting a human, someone they barely understood. To save her life, Jorlock, the queen's advisor, stood beside him, his eyes never leaving Sam as he worked. His strong alien features were set in a grim expression, but there was a sense of urgency in his posture. The commander knew that time was running out for the queen. The future of the Vyrka alliance could crumble if she died. And the Xylar Empire, the enemy they had been fighting for so long, was still out there. Ready to strike, Sam focused on the queen's injury, doing his best to ignore the growing pressure. He adjusted the device that was still working to close the wound. The soft hum of the machine was a constant reminder of how delicate the situation was. He had to get it right, or everything would be lost. Laurahel shifted slightly on the table. Her eyes, though filled with exhaustion, remained calm and clear. Despite the pain, she had a quiet strength about her that was hard to ignore. Sam could sense she was trying to hide her discomfort for his sake. She was the leader of her people, and even now, as she lay on the table, she did not want to show weakness. Her voice broke the silence. "You seem unsure, human. Why?" Glanced at her, startled by the question. I don't want to fail you," he admitted, his voice quiet but filled with sincerity. Laurahel studied him closely. "You are not failing me. You are doing your best, and that is all I ask. It is a hard thing to heal another. But you carry the strength of your kind within you. Trust in it." Words were simple, but they carried weight. Sam felt a strange sense of comfort in them, but it was not enough to stop the pressure weighing. On him, he had never faced a challenge like this before. Saving a queen, someone who was so important to an entire civilization, was not something he had ever imagined. But despite his doubts, he continued to work. His hands, steady now, moved. With practiced precision, Sam was a medic after all. He'd spent years learning how to treat wounds, no matter how serious. And even though the patient in front of him was an alien queen, she was still a living being, and that meant she deserved his best effort. As the healing device continued to hum, the queen spoke again. "You do not belong here, human. You are far from home. Yet, you have come when we needed you the most." Sam didn't know how to respond to that. She was right. He was far from Earth, far from everything he had known. Yet somehow, this had become his responsibility. His choice. "I didn't ask for this," he said, wiping sweat from his brow. "But I'll do whatever I can." For you, for your people. Laurel Hells. Eyes softened, and for a moment, Sam saw a glimpse of the person behind the title. She wasn't just a queen. She was a woman who had to carry the weight of an entire people, a woman who was afraid of losing everything. You speak of duty, she said quietly, but I am more than just a ruler. I have watched my people suffer, and I fear that if I die, they will lose hope. I cannot allow that to happen. I will not let my people fall. Sam paused. Her words cut deeper than he expected. It always seen people in pain, but this was different. This was a queen, a leader, someone who was more than just a person. She was the last line of defense for her people, and if she failed, it wasn't just her life that would be lost, it was the lives of everyone who depended on her. The weight of her words settled heavily in the room. The healers, who had once been skeptical of Sam, now looked at him with a new understanding. They realized, just like he had, that this was bigger than any one person. This was about survival, about protecting a future that no one could take. For granted, Jorlock, still watching from the side, stepped forward. We have always believed that the strength of the Vierka comes from our unity. But perhaps in this moment, it is not our power that will save us. It is the power of an outsider, a human. Sam looked at the commander, trying to process the meaning behind his words. It was true that the Vierka had always been proud of their strength, their unity. But now, they were relying on him, a human medic, to pull them from the brink of disaster. Right, Sam said slowly, his voice gaining confidence. Maybe it's not about strength. Maybe it's about something else. Something ... deeper. Laura Hell's eyes met his, and for the first time, Sam saw the hint of a smile on her lips. It was small, almost unnoticeable, but it was there. The strength you speak of, human, is not of muscles or power. It is the strength to care, to help others, no matter the cost. That is the strength I see in you. Her words were a balm to his growing anxiety. He didn't fully understand her perspective, but in that moment, he realized that this was more than just medicine. It was about trust, about doing what was right, even when everything seemed impossible, with renewed focus. Sam continued his work, determined to see it through. The Queen's life, the future of the Vierka alliance, and the fate of countless others rested in his hands. He would not let them down. The hours seemed to stretch endlessly as Sam worked on the Queen. He had been at it for what felt like days, though it was only a few hours. The healing device buzzed softly, the steady hum a constant reminder that he was on the edge of success or failure. The Queen's breathing had steadied, her pulse no longer erratic. But there was still so much uncertainty in the air. As Sam worked, he could feel the eyes of the Vierka healers watching him, their gazes filled with a mix of doubt and respect. It was clear that many of them had never imagined a human would be the one to heal their queen. They had always believed their methods. Their ancient healing practices were the only way to save her. But now, they had to accept the truth. Only Sam's techniques were making a difference. Laura Hell, though still in pain, had grown more relaxed. Her gaze, once sharp and commanding, now softened as she spoke to Sam. You do not know why I insisted. On a human, do you? She asked, her voice calm, despite her weakened state. Sam shook his head. No, I don't. I thought you just wanted to trust someone you knew wouldn't give up on you. The Queen smiled faintly, but there was a sadness in her eyes. It's not that simple, human. I have seen the future of my people, and I know what must be done. You and only you can help us. Sam paused, his hands stilling for a moment. As he looked down at the Queen, what do you mean? I'm just a medic. I don't know anything about your future. You are wrong, Laurel said quietly. You know more than you think. She fell silent for a moment, her eyes drifting to the ceiling, as if gathering the strength to speak. Sam waited, unsure of what she meant. But sensing that the Queen was about to share something important, the Vierka people have lived under the rule of fear for generations. Laurel Hell began, her voice soft but firm. We have always been a powerful force in the galaxy, but we have paid a price for that power. Our people have suffered, and the Xylar Empire, our enemies, have taken advantage of our weakness. They have always sought to destroy us, to take what is ours. But I have seen a vision. A vision where we are no longer the rulers of fear, but the rulers of peace. Sam listened, trying to understand what she meant. You think I can help? With that, the queen nodded, though it was clear she struggled with the weight of her own words. Yes, you're kind. The humans have something that we do not. Something that even our best healers have never understood. Not just your knowledge of medicine, though that has certainly helped. It is your ability to care for others, to understand what it means to fight not just for yourself, but for those around you. Sam was taken aback. You really think that's what makes humans different? Laurel's eyes locked onto his, and for the first time since he'd entered the room, she looked at him not as a healer or as a medic, but as a person. Yes, you fight because you believe in others. You fight because you believe in the future, in hope, in something bigger than yourself. That is why you can heal me, human. Sam felt a surge of emotion, a strange mix of pride and confusion. He had never really thought of himself or his species in such grand terms. To him, healing was just what he did. It was his job, his duty. He never thought it could be about anything more than that. But why me? Sam asked. Why did it have to be me and not one of your own healers? Laurel looked at him with a deep, almost painful understanding. Because the prophecy spoke of a time when only a human would be able to heal me. It was foretold long ago when the Virka were at their peak. They said that the fate of our people would rest in the hands of a human, someone who could bring us the peace we so desperately need. A prophecy. Sam repeated, unsure if he understood what the queen meant. Yes, Laurel said, and I have waited for this moment for a long time. But I did not expect it to be you. I did not expect it to be now. I thought I would die before this happened. Sam took a step back, trying to process what the queen had just said. He had heard stories of prophecies before, stories of ancient powers and mysterious forces that shaped the future. But he had never thought they would be real, at least not in the way Laurel described them. So, this prophecy, it said a human would heal you and bring peace to your people? Sam asked, still struggling to wrap his head around it. Laurel nodded. Yes, and now that you are here, I believe it is true. You have shown me that humans are not just warriors. You are healers, protectors, and leaders in your own right. Your strength lies in your ability to care for others, and that is why you can help us. Sam stood there in silence, the weight of her words sinking in. The future of an entire people rested on his shoulders, on his ability to care for someone else. It was a lot to take in, especially for someone who had always focused on the immediate tasks at hand. He had never seen himself as someone capable of changing the future. He had always been a healer, a medic, someone who helped others in small ways. But this was different. This was something bigger than he had ever imagined. I don't know if I'm the right person for this, Sam said quietly. I don't know if I can live up to what you're asking of me. Laurel reached out, placing a hand gently on his arm. You already have, human. You've already shown me the strength of your kind, and I believe you will lead us to a better future. For the first time in hours, Sam felt a sense of calm. The pressure was still there, but now it was tempered with a new understanding. Maybe he wasn't just a medic. Maybe he was part of something bigger, something that could bring peace to an entire galaxy. He took a deep breath and nodded. Do everything I can. For you. For your people. The queen smiled, her eyes filled with gratitude. Then, let us begin. Together. The days following Queen Laurel's treatment were filled with tension. Although the queen's health had improved significantly, the Virka alliance faced an uncertain future. With the Xylar Empire still threatening to attack the Virka people, had grown restless. Sam knew the queen had more to worry about than just her health. The weight of an entire civilization rested on her shoulders, and every decision she made now carried even more importance. Sam continued to work alongside the Virka healers, trying his best to help with the recovery process. He had healed the queen's physical wounds, but there were other wounds, deeper ones, that could not be treated with medicine alone. Laurel had become more open with Sam, sharing her fears and her hopes for the future. But still, the pressure of leading her people, of keeping the peace, was a constant burden on her. One afternoon, Sam found himself alone in the medical bay, reviewing his notes. The door opened slowly, and Jorlock, the Queen's advisor, entered with a serious expression. His usual calm demeanor was gone, replaced with a sharpness Sam hadn't seen before. "Captain Carter," Jorlock said, his voice low, "we need to talk." Sam stood up, sensing the urgency in the commander's tone. "What's going on?" "There are doubts," Jorlock replied, stepping closer. "Many of the Varka warriors are starting to question your role here. They're uneasy with the idea that a human, someone they consider inferior, is the one to heal their queen. They think that her survival is too important to be left in your hands." Sam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He had known that. Some of the Viraka people might not be comfortable with him, but hearing it from Jorlock made it all too real. "They're questioning my abilities?" Sam asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "I thought we were past that." "We were," Jorlock said, his expression hardening. "But the fear is growing. They see you as an outsider. And there are those who believe that a human is not enough to lead them through the coming storm. They think the Queen's decision was a mistake." Sam sighed, feeling the weight of the situation. He had always known that being a human in this situation would be difficult, but he hadn't anticipated this level of resistance. He had hoped his actions would prove his worth to the Virka people, but it seemed that was not enough. "Is there anything I can do to change their minds?" Sam asked, trying to keep his emotions in check. Jorlock looked at him with a mixture of sympathy and concern. "You can do your job. Continue helping the Queen. Continue proving yourself. But understand this, there are others who will not be swayed, and if the Queen's enemies see this division, they will use it against us." Sam nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. The Xylar Empire would seize any weakness they could find. The Viraka alliance was already on the edge, and any sign of internal conflict would be the perfect opportunity for the Xylars to strike. As if on cue, the door to the medical bay opened again, and Laura Hell entered, her presence commanding attention. She had grown stronger since Sam had first treated her, but her eyes still held the burden of leadership. Despite her improvements, it was clear she was still exhausted from the weight of her responsibilities. "I heard what you were discussing," she said quietly, her voice firm but tinged with sadness. "The doubts. The fears." Sam turned to face her. "Your people are worried, Your Majesty. They don't trust me. They think I'm a danger to you and to them." Laurel's gaze was steady, but there was a sadness in her eyes. "I knew this would happen. I knew there would be those who would question me for allowing a human to heal me. But I made my choice, and I stand by it. I chose you, Sam Carter. I trust you." Sam felt a mix of relief and pressure at her words. Trust was something he had never taken lightly, and it was clear that Laura Hell was placing a great deal of it in him. He had to prove himself, not just to her, but to her people as well. "You've done more than heal my body," Laura Hell continued, her voice low, but filled with strength. "You've shown me that there is more to humanity than just strength and power. You've shown me compassion, something my people have forgotten over the years. We fight wars, we conquer worlds, but we have lost sight of what it truly means to care for others. That is why I trusted you. That is why I chose you." Sam didn't know how to respond to that. Her words were powerful, and they made him question everything he had believed about himself. He had never thought of himself as anything special. It was just a Medica man doing his job. But now, Laura Hell had placed him at the center of something much bigger than himself. "I won't let you down," Sam promised, his voice filled with determination. Laura Hell nodded, her eyes softening. "I know, but the time is coming when we'll need to make our stand. The Xylar Empire will not wait forever. They will come for us, whether we are ready or not. And if we are divided, if we do not unite, their victory is certain." Sam nodded in understanding. The situation was more dire than he had realized. The Queen's survival had only been the first step. It was up to Amand her to bring the Virka people together, to stand against the Xylar Empire and prove that they were not just a group of warring factions, but a united force that could overcome any threat. The pressure on Sam grew, but so did his resolve. He had been chosen for a reason, had to believe. That as Jorlock left the room, giving Sam and the Queen a moment of privacy, Sam felt a new sense of purpose take root inside him. He wasn't just a medic anymore. He was a part of something larger struggle that would shape the future of the Virka people. L'Oreal's eyes softened, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. Then let us begin, Captain Carter. Let us begin the fight for our future. The days that followed were filled with challenges. Sam had become more than just the Queen's medic. He was now deeply involved in the delicate politics of the Virka alliance. The healers, once unsure of his role, had started to accept his presence. And more importantly, the Virka people were beginning to understand the significance of his actions. The Queen's physical recovery had been slow, but steady. Sam's efforts had brought her back from the brink of death. Now she was stronger, though still not at her full capacity. She had spent most of her time in her private chambers, resting, but it was clear that she was anxious to get back. To work, she felt the weight of leadership press harder on her shoulders with every passing day. One afternoon, Sam entered the Queen's chambers to find her sitting at her desk looking over battle strategies. Her tired eyes glanced up as he entered, and despite the exhaustion on her face, she smiled. "You look better," Sam said, walking over to her. "How do you feel today?" "Better than before," she replied. "But I am not yet well. There is still much to be done. The Xylar Empire is growing bolder with each passing day. It will not wait for me to fully recover." Sam nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. The Virka people were facing their greatest threat yet, and Queen Laurahel was the only one who could lead them to victory. Her recovery wasn't just about her health, it was about the future of her people. "I know the pressure you feel," Sam said quietly. "But remember, you don't have to carry this burden alone. You have me and the others who support you. You're not alone in this fight." Laurahel looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and sadness. "You are kind, Sam." "Carter, but you do not understand the weight I carry. If I fail, my people will suffer. The galaxy will fall further into chaos." Sam sat beside her, trying to find the right words. He had been a medic his whole life, but this was more than healing a wound. This was about helping a leader. It was about to make decisions that could change the fate of an entire galaxy. "I'm not a soldier," Queen Laurahel, Sam said. "I don't know what it's like to lead a people or to make life or death decisions. But I know this: your people trust you. They're waiting for you to guide them. And you've already done more than anyone expected by choosing to trust me." Laurel sighed deeply. "Trusting you is easy, Sam. You were the one person I knew would never lie to me. But now the real work begins. The Xylar Empire is ruthless. They won't stop until they have everything." "I'll help you prepare," Sam said. "Together, we can do this." The Queen studied him for a moment, her eyes sharp despite the fatigue. "You speak of unity, but we are divided, Sam. The Virka people are not united. There are factions who question my leadership, who question your place in this war. I fear that if I cannot bring them together, we will lose before we even begin." Sam understood now that the Queen's struggle wasn't just physical, it was political. She had to not only heal from her wounds, but also heal the divisions within her own people. It was no small task. "I'll speak to them," Sam said, determination in his voice. "If they see that you trust me, maybe they will start to see the bigger picture." The Queen's eyes softened. "You would do that for me?" Sam nodded. "I promise to stand with you, Your Majesty, and I will. I believe in you. I believe in your people. But I think they need to see that you're not just their queen. They need to see you as a person who believes in them." For the first time, Laurahel allowed herself to relax slightly. She had always carried the weight of her people on her shoulders. But now she realized that, just maybe, she didn't have to carry it all alone. Sam's support was more than just his healing skills. It was his unwavering belief in her, and in the future of her people. "I will speak to them, Sam," she said, her voice stronger. "I will show them that we are not divided, that together we can stand against the Xylar Empire." Over the next few days, Sam worked alongside Laurel to prepare for the difficult task ahead. He attended meetings with the Queen, where they discussed strategy and ways to unite the various factions of the Virka people. Why Sam's role had shifted again. He wasn't just a medic anymore. He was an advisor, a sounding board, and a quiet force behind Laurel's decisions. One evening, after a long day of discussions, Sam sat in the Queen's chambers, exhausted but satisfied with the progress they had made. They had managed to gain the support of several key leaders, though there were still those who questioned Laurel's decision to trust a human. But Sam knew that it would take time. He had seen how the Queen's leadership had inspired others. Now, it was his turn to do the same. Laurel entered the room, her posture more relaxed than it had been in days. "I spoke to the council today," she said, sitting beside him. "Many still doubt us, but we have made progress. They are listening." "That's good," Sam said with a tired smile. "It's a start." Laurel nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I am not the only one with power, Sam. It is my people who give me the strength to lead. Without them, I would be nothing. And without you, I would not be here." Sam looked at her, his heart heavy with the responsibility she had placed in his hands. "You've done all the hard work, Your Majesty. I'm just here to help." Laurel smiled softly, and for a moment, the weight of the galaxy seemed to lift from her shoulders. "Perhaps, but we do this together. And together, we will bring peace." The two of them sat in silence for a while, the hum of the ship the only sound in the room. Sam had never imagined he would be part of something so important. But now, as he looked at Laurel, he realized that he was no longer just a medic. He was a part of something much bigger, a fight for the future of an entire people, and he was ready to fight for them. The days leading up to the battle were filled with preparations. Queen Laurel had made significant strides in uniting the Vyrka alliance, though there were still a few factions that remained hesitant. Sam had done everything he could to help. Using his knowledge of medicine and his natural ability to connect with people, he had spoken with the Vyrka leaders, convincing them that unity was their only hope against the Xylar Empire. But it wasn't enough to win the war. They needed something more, something that could give them the strength to stand against the might of the Xylars. On the eve of the battle, Sam stood on the deck of the Vyrka flagship, gazing out into the star-filled expanse of space. The fleet was ready. Hundreds of ships, armed and prepared for the coming conflict, waited for the signal to move. He could hear the hum of engines, the soft whispers of communication as the Vyrka forces prepared for what might be their last fight. Sam felt a strange mixture of nerves and resolve. He wasn't a soldier, but he had become more than just a medic. He was a part of something much larger than himself. He had helped heal the Queen, but now he had to help heal the wounds of a broken people. The Xylar Empire was ruthless, and the Vyrka people had paid the price for their years of warfare. But now they had a chance. They had a chance to stand united, to fight for something greater than just survival. Laurel joined him on the deck. Her steps light despite the heavy burden she carried. Her armor, now fully repaired, gleamed under the starlight. She'd recovered more than just physically. She had found a new strength, a sense of purpose. The doubts that had once plagued her were slowly fading away, replaced by a quiet confidence. "You look ready," Sam said, turning to her. Laurel smiled, though her expression was tinged with sadness. "I don't know if anyone can ever be ready for war, but I must do this. For my people, for the future." Sam nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "We'll do everything we can, together." Laurel's eyes softened. "You've done more than I ever expected. You've shown me that humanity has a strength unlike any other. Your people may be small in number, but their hearts are vast. I will not forget that." Sam couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. He wasn't just fighting for the Queen or her people. He was fighting for something greater. He was fighting for the future. He had never expected to be part of something so important. But now, standing alongside Laurel, he knew he had made the right choice. He had chosen to stand with her, to stand with the Vyrka people, and he wouldn't turn back. The quiet moment was broken by the sound of a commotion on the deck. A Vyrka soldier approached them, his face grim. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing his head, "the Xylar fleet has entered our sector. They're ready to attack." Laurel's expression hardened, and Sam felt the tension rise in the air. The time had come. The battle for the future of the Vyrka people had arrived. "Send the order," Laurel said, her voice steady. "We fight. For peace. For the future." The soldier nodded and hurried off to relay the Queen's command. Sam and Laura Hell stood together, watching as the Vyraka ships prepared to launch. The fleet was a massive sight. Hundreds of ships, each one a testament to the power and resilience of the Vyraka people. But even with their strength, the Xylar Empire outnumbered them. The Verka alliance had to fight with more than just weapons. They had to fight with their hearts. Sam couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. The Vyrka were not alone. They had allies, human allies, and that made all the difference. Sam had come to learn that, despite their differences, humanity and the Vyraka shared something important. They shared a belief in something greater than themselves. They shared a belief in hope. The battle began without warning. The Xylar ships opened fire, their weapons cutting through the space between the two fleets. The Vyraka ships retaliated, launching their own missiles and lasers. The sound of explosions echoed through the ship as the battle raged on. Sam stood by Laura Hell's side, his heart racing as he watched the chaos unfold. He'd been trained to heal, not to fight, but in this moment, he realized that healing wasn't just about medicine. Healing was about fighting for something worth saving. Laura Hell turned to him, her expression fierce. "Stay safe, Sam. If anything happens to me, you must take charge. You must lead them." Sam stared at her, unsure of how to respond. "I'm not a leader, Your Majesty. I'm just a medic." "You are more than that," Laura Hell said, her eyes fierce. "You've already led us. You've helped us become more than just soldiers. You've shown us the strength of our hearts." The words hit Sam like a wave. He had always seen himself as someone who just followed orders. But now, standing beside the Queen, he realized that he was a part of something much greater than himself. He wasn't just a medic. He was a part of this fight. He was a part of this future. As the battle raged on, Sam's role had shifted again. He wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He was helping coordinate medical teams, making sure the wounded were treated as quickly as possible. He was doing what he did best, healing. But this time, it felt different. This time, healing wasn't just about saving lives. It was about giving people the strength to fight for those lives. It was about giving them the hope they needed to win. Hours passed, and the battle seemed endless. But slowly the tide began to turn. The Vyraka fleet, despite being outnumbered, fought with a strength and unity they had never known before. The Xylars were relentless, but they underestimated the power of a people united in their cause. As the battle reached its peak, Laura Hill ordered the final assault. The Vyraka ships closed in on the Xylar flagship, and with one final strike, they disabled the ship. The Xylar forces, seeing their flagship fall, began to retreat. The battle was over. The Vyraka had won. Sam stood by Laura Hell as they watched the Xylar fleet retreat, their ships scattering in every direction. The Queen's people had won, and peace had been achieved. It wasn't the end of the war, but it was the beginning of something new. The Vyraka alliance had been tested, and they had passed. Laurel turned to Sam, her eyes filled with gratitude. "We did it," she said quietly. Sam nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "We did." The future was still uncertain, but in that moment, Sam knew that they had created a new hope. And together, they would build that hope into something stronger than ever before.